It's time to take your business to the next level, the boss level. These are the premier business owner strategies and successes being utilized by the industry's top talent today. Rock your business like a boss, a VO boss. Now let's welcome your host, Anne Ganguzza.
Welcome, everybody, to the VO Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Anne Ganguzza, along with my extra special, amazing, special guest co-host, the queen bee herself, Liz Atherton. Yay! Liz, tech entrepreneur and founder of Tag Talent and Cast Voices. I am so beyond excited to have you co-host with me to kickstart this 2020 year of awesome things that are going to happen for all the VO bosses. So thank you so much.
I am so glad to be here. My goodness, what a thrill it was. I was glad you called. I was like, sure, let's try this puppy out. And so thank you. I'm just going to warn you, I'm not a voiceover talent, so I am in awe as you speak. And what you're going to hear is my Texas accent because there's not a darn thing I can do about it. So there we go.
But that's what's so endearing. Those who know and love you, yes, those who know and love you, it is right on brand with the queen bee herself. So
isn't that the truth?
I'll tell you, when I was looking for co-hosts to work with me for the year of 2020, and I really feel like you fit the bill as a strong female entrepreneur, and I was so happy when you said yes, you wanted to co-host. So, for the listeners out there that may or may not know, I can't believe if they don't know you, but for those that don't know, Liz, tell us a little bit about yourself and your entrepreneurship in this voiceover industry.
Well, let me start off with every entrepreneur is on the spectrum somewhere because we're crazy. I don't think any of us that are entrepreneurs would disagree. I mean, we're all in or nothing. But I started the Atherton group, which we called Tag Talent Agency, about 26 years ago. And I was at the helm until last year. And I left Tag. Actually, the voiceover was taken over by Jimmy Cobble, and the on-camera was taken over by Jorge Elizondo and Tony Wasson. And they're now running their ship there. But I ran it for about 25 years. And then midway along there, I think I was the first or the second talent agency in the world to have a website. And so when I started Tag, I worked in high tech before that. I was a project manager for a Fortune 10 company. And started Tag, and we started a website. So that was kind of cool to be one of the first ones out there. But behind the scenes, I really wanted it to run very efficiently and productively. And we built this really nice machine that is now turned into Cast Voices. We had things in there that we could do submission tools and reviews and things like that. So about 2.5 years ago, when the tsunami hit the voiceover world, I know, right?
Which one?
I know. Well, there you go. It was interesting because it didn't just hit the voiceover world. It also hit the on-camera world. And not a lot of the voiceover talent I know cross over into both worlds. But I had started my talent agency as an on-camera talent agency first, and voiceover came along later. For those that don't know, behind the scenes, to get into voiceover work, there are software platforms out there that are like gateways between the talent and producers. Both of those kind of got hit. So we had this little software we were running Tag, and we decided to start Cast Voices. And that was about 2.5 years ago. And now I can actually say we're going to be rolling that puppy out in the spring. So as an entrepreneur, I had Tag for 25 years, and then Cast Voices now is, it's been around several years, but it's now official. And then I also put on my crazy hat and decided to roll out a camp, and I'm the crazy director of CampVO. A camp director, right?
Yes.
Camp Crazy.
I'm super excited for that one. I'll be seeing you in May for sure.
I can't wait. I mean, aside from the work to get it done, literally everybody that's endearing to me is part of the program. And I just can't wait. I just think we're going to have the best time in the world and get a lot of learning and all that kind of good stuff. But I kind of got off topic there. Back to the entrepreneur stuff.
Well, but that's an entrepreneurial vision that you had, right? To start a VO camp, something super different in this industry, which is also really cool. I like that. Like,
I know.
I think it's important.
I'm really excited about it.
I think it's important as an entrepreneur to have those really different innovative ideas out there. That's what makes you stand out. That's what really, I think, speaks to the entrepreneurial spirit.
Well, look at you. Isn't that the pot calling the kettle black?
Well,
I mean, how many businesses do you have, my dear?
I have a few.
Yeah, and I mean, I watch you in awe. I mean, I literally, because look at all the stuff you have going, and you do it, and you always have this fantastic attitude. I don't see how you do, because behind the scenes, I sometimes pull my hair out, and that's a literal statement.
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. Well, I think, we always try to strive to just be honest and real in the VO Boss podcast. So, yeah, I will admit to pulling my hair out multiple times.
Well, and for any VO that's listening, they had to have done that too, because honestly, if you're a voiceover talent, you are an entrepreneur. Unless you're sitting in, somebody's roster and all you do is go to work every day, record and leave, which I don't know of anybody that does that. Well, maybe some, and they're darn lucky. You have to figure out a way. One, you have to have a voice, and then you got to learn the technical, and then you got to learn how to network in the technical. And I think that was the big thing that hit the voiceover world, which really made everybody step up to the bar a couple of years ago, is that our natural avenues for finding work changed. And suddenly everybody was not part of a machine that, brought stuff to their inbox. And they had to go out there and find work. And I think that's where everybody, they're starting to find their footing now, but I don't think it's all settled, in my humble opinion. I think we're going to still have things to do there.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm glad.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, I wanted to get into a couple of different topics with you, because you have such experience, obviously, being an agent. And I think that that's super valuable information. But I did want to sidetrack just a little bit, because that happens.
Please do.
I just want everybody to know that I'm coming to you from the Try booth.
Yes.
Yes, the brainchild of George Whittam and Rick Wasserman. And I have to say that I am so pleased with this booth, not only with how it sounds, but honestly, I was just looking for a place to put my coffee, and they literally have thought of every detail. And there's actually a coffee cup holder.
No way.
Right here, attached to the booth. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. I have a coffee. So coffee's very important to me. Just saying. I know I'm a voice talent, but I remember I'll be good, and I'll follow it up with lots of water. But okay, that was my off tangent remark. But I'd love to get back to you're so experienced being an agent, and agents have just, through the years, the job role, I think, has changed tremendously.
Gosh.
And I think it's important. Let's start off 2020. Let's talk a little bit about what you believe the agent's role is going to be in 2020, and how it compares to what it was years ago or leading up to now.
So, interestingly enough, I was on LinkedIn this morning, and a person posted about agent, schmagent, who needs an agent? And I'm like, in all fairness to them, they were posted with a picture with someone of notoriety, and they weren't a member of a union or had an agent, and yet they were getting work, and that's great. So in the past, agents were a gateway or a filter. Casting director has a project. They don't want to open it up to 400,000 VO talent. They want to open it up to 10 agents or 5 agents who represent talent. They expect the agents to read the specs and only submit people that fit those specs and fit the sound, and they expect the agents to make sure the sound is doing what it's supposed to. So an agent might listen to, 120 auditions in a day, pick and choose and whatnot. And then the casting director then gets vetted auditions, and they don't have to go out there and listen to 400,000. They can listen to a number from each of the agents. What has happened is that, again, back with the tsunami, a lot of people started seeking out their own work, which is well and good, except that now you don't have this, I keep using the word filter, but you don't have this person in front, the agent, making sure the rates are fair, making sure the working conditions are fair, making sure that all of that other kind of stuff is fair, and also, to the casting side, making sure that they're not getting inundated with tons of work.
Right.
You narrow that field down. But the role of the agent, especially with
is that your agent phone buzzing right now that I hear?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Always
I got
busy.
Lots going on. I know. I'm sorry. And I know there's probably a way to turn it so it doesn't vibrate, but I'm sorry, Anne. I'm going to throw it. Did you hear that?
Throw it. I'm going to throw you out the booth.
I did. I threw it across the room. Whee! What has happened is that with the pay-to-play software and people going out through LinkedIn and other marketing venues and CRMs and ABCDEFGs finding their own work, the role of the agent has diminished. in my opinion. But I think that that's just like anything. I think that's cyclical, and I think the agent will come back. Now, I know there's a trend in some of the ad agencies and whatnot to just put people on the roster. That's like the old 60s and 70s jingle business.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
people would just keep jingle singers in the studio, you'd walk in the morning, sing all day long, and leave for the day. And that's well and good, but that means also those people are on staff, on salary.
Right.
So I know I'm kind of all over the place, but what I think is happening right now is that it's just we're in this sea of flux. You do have some agents that are, still doing very well, and God bless them because they're working their buns off. But so many people have, I don't know about ditch the agent, but on both sides, producers and talent. And yes, an agent gets a commission and all that other kind of stuff, but a good agent works their buns off for you.
Oh, sure. And they're doing work for you.
They're doing big work for you, and they're filtering for you, and they're pitching for you. Like, I got asked to help on a project just a couple days ago, not an agent, so I sent it out to just a handful of people. I said, look, I'm just sending this out to you. I don't expect anything in return. I'm just trying to help a friend. Just being back in it for just that little bit of time was very eye-opening because, like, if those people, and these are all professionals, had submitted directly to the casting director, out of the few people that I worked with, only 2 of them actually followed the directions to the T.
Isn't that like the age-old story?
Yes.
The age-old complaint of people who, submit auditions that they haven't followed the instructions.
Yeah.
Let me back up just a moment and ask you, okay, so the agent's role. Now, for me, I have agents, but the majority of work that I do is non-union, and a lot of it is narration work and e-learning and corporate narration. Let me ask you a question, because I believe the whole market is shifting. I think that the way media is consumed is changing. And so, I read something from Gary Vaynerchuk the other day, who, he's like my marketing god. He was talking about this shift in how people consume media, and that if you're not looking forward to, being on platforms where, the younger people are on and how things are being consumed, which is not necessarily broadcast networks much anymore. It's all streaming and Netflix and digital media. What do you think that it would serve the agents to maybe take a bigger look at other types of content that they can help voice talent with? For example, corporate work. I'm big into corporate work, and I truly believe that companies of today, like YouTube and Vimeo, that's their advertising medium. That's their broadcast TV. Is it possible, or do you think it's worth it, that agents would look into kind of securing that type of work? And I mean, I'd be happy to pay an agent a commission to negotiate on my behalf, because there's some great corporate work out there that can pay a lot of money.
There is some great corporate work out there. The problem with agents is that they get contacted. Yes, they'll go seek out work as well, but they get contacted. So let's just say that you did get an opportunity and you needed somebody to help you with a contract. I have had that question come to me individually a lot. People are like, what do you think about this? And I just help them, right? Now, sure, let me help you. As for agents going out and trying to secure an avenue to just YouTube work or any of that kind of work, I don't know that would work. That's more like the ad agency's role.
Right. And not agent necessarily.
Not necessarily agent. Now, a savvy agent might do that. I know I've seen some agents that just do trailers, right? But we agents, we hose. We go for everything. That sounds so bad.
So wait, then let me ask you a question. How do you secure the clients that come to you? That's the question. Do you go out and market yourself? And so when you market your services, what types of voiceover are you servicing? Is it, commercial? Is it just commercial, or?
When I was an agent, I was boutique, so we did it all. Okay, we did on camera as well as voiceover. And within the voiceover realm, anything and everything that we could find, we would go after. Our sweet spot was commercial.
Because there's royalties and residuals, right? I mean, the gift that keeps giving.
Listen, even if there wasn't, but we worked in union and non-union.
Got it.
So that's why we love the old VoiceBank, because everybody tended to use VoiceBank as the platform for the legitimate paying jobs. And I'm not saying that there aren't legitimate paying jobs on some of the other platforms.
Yeah.
When it came through VoiceBank, the rates were typically good.
Yeah.
It was somebody you knew. I mean, we were talking about this last night at dinner. On any given day, we might send out between 3 and 10 big auditions a day.
Right.
I mean, that's huge. And when that whole tsunami stopped, that went away. I do think there's opportunity for, I mean, I hope it's me, but
I was going to
hope
say, is this
somebody-
now your mission with Cast Voices?
That is my mission with Cast Voices. We're building a sense of community. I mean, we're transparent. We don't take fees from the actors. It's a subscription service. I mean, fees from projects. We don't charge producers to publish, blah, 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 blah. I mean, there's a whole lot of things that are coming our way. But our goal is to build a sense of community so that if the producer wants people to be able to reach them, they can. Or if you want to be able to talk to a talent, you can. We want to help you build your rosters. We want to be out there, but we want mostly for the community to know that this is a place you can go and get good talent that are vetted, that know what they're doing. But in the old way, kind of like where we can encourage agents to send out the work or the talent can come and get the work themselves. But ours is an invitation kind of thing. You don't have to pay to be on Cast Voices to get invited. But I digress. Back to the question, back to the role of agents. I think 2.5 years ago, there were at least 220 voiceover agencies that just worked in voiceover. I would bet you if that number were calculated now, it's probably dropped. I would bet even to half. Maybe not, but even to half.
Yeah.
A lot of them are going away because you just can't make a living.
Right.
People are getting work on their own, the work that's coming through that people are asking you to help on, even if it's a $1,200 job, right? $1,200 job. You work on that job for 3 or 4 days as an agent.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And 10%, 20% of that, yeah. I get that.
$120
Yep.
or $180 is not going to make a living for you.
Yeah.
And especially if you have staff.
Volume work or big work.
Or volume work or big work. I mean, I was extraordinarily fortunate in TAG. We had some really big projects that we booked that are still, the gift that keeps on gifting. Thank you. But we also had the on-camera side of the house to help offset voiceover carried me for years, and then the tsunami hit, and on-camera carried me, and then I was just like, my heart was in the software development side of things, so I jumped over there. But the role of the agent, I don't know if people really appreciate that an agent never goes to bed or sleeps. I mean, their phone is on 24/7. You don't want to miss the call. You don't want to miss it. And it might be for this $500 job, and you're going to make $50, maybe $75, and you're done. But it's because I think people forget too, Anne, that the agent actually works for the people.
Yeah.
The people don't work for the agent.
Right.
Right. And if we're not doing our job for you, then we don't deserve the work. It's a tough road, and it just never stops. It's just nonstop, and heck, you can be submitting on 10 projects in a week and not book one of them, but yet your week is gone, 40 hours plus, and you're done.
Right, and you've made no profit.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that's something that voice talent, they don't think about that. They, I don't think they really look into what the agent does on a day-to-day basis and how hard they work. How do they make a living? What is their profit? And I think that more of us really need to understand that, which is why I'm so glad that you're here talking about it. I think they need to understand that and appreciate that and really utilize a talent agent's skill set for, what they are best for and work as a team.
Even taking another step back, you're a voiceover and you have how many agents? You don't have to answer me, but
I have 11. I was about
to say 10.
I have 11.
I was about to say 10.
Yep.
And Anne, how many times do you get the same audition?
Oh, quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
Yep.
So what's happening now, I would tell you that your Agent A roster looks like a whole lot like Agent B roster, which is a whole lot like Agent C roster. So where's the differentiation?
Right.
So now you're a talent and you've got 11 agents and you get the audition from 9 of them. And I bet you that has happened, or 7. So where do the agents differentiate? They differentiate with regional work, right? So it's usually national work that you'll get, or there are large region like the Southwest that you'll get from everybody, right? But you won't get the Chicago car dealership.
Right, exactly.
From everybody. So now you've got that agent sitting in Chicago trying to pick up every local gig there is. Well, what do local gigs pay? You're lucky if they pay $500, right? I mean, you are, because it's going to be a 13-week spot on radio.
Sure.
Or it's going to be a 13-week spot on TV.
Right.
It's just a small spot, and it's regional. It's in a city. So now you've got an agent trying to hustle to pick up 10 or 15 of those a month so that they can make, let's just say they pay $500 a piece. Times 10, that's $5,000. That agent's going to make $500 off of all that. Maybe if they're lucky, $750.
So for a month's work.
Yes. And so now
So why do it, Liz? That's what I want to know.
I'm running
Then
software
why?
now, Anne.
So software is going to help you be more efficient in terms of, explain that.
Why did I do it for so long? I love the talent. I love the challenge. I love the opportunity. How fun it is to say, I represented a Siri. That's a whole lot of joy in that. You do it because it's just what you do. Yes, you can set your own hours as an agent, but you do it for the people until the people become unpleasant. And then you're like, well, no, we don't.
People become unpleasant. I've never been unpleasant to my agent ever.
No.
I'm just saying.
Well, you are a rarity.
Oh, you mean the client,
No,
or do you mean the client is being?
Both. I can tell you stories upon stories upon.
Wow.
I mean, I can of like we had a girl one time. She got hired as the voice of a product. I want to be careful here so I don't get any of us in trouble. They needed her to be authentic from a country. So I'm just going to pick England.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it wasn't England, but they needed her to be specifically, authentically England. And this was a client that the agency we had worked with a lot, so which was nice because the agency would have a project, not talent agency, ad agency would have a product come through, and they would reach out to us because we had this fantastic roster. They could find who they wanted through us. So they called, they hired this young lady. This young lady talked in the accent of England and her normal accent.
Oops.
Both with the client. No. And the client knew this.
Oh, okay.
Went to session. Everything was beautiful. 11 days in, the client calls back and says, well, they're not authentic English. And I'm like, well, we know that. We showed you that they weren't authentic English. We told you talked with her. Well, we think you duped us and we're never going to work with you again.
Oh, really? Interesting.
True. Oh, that happens a lot. Oh, the big one. Sorry, I'm digressing here, but a real pet peeve is you don't talk about your auditions ever. Ever.
Yeah.
Did I say ever?
Never.
And
Ever.
people do.
Yeah.
And people.
Why?
We would even put it on. I think that there is a thing on social media where somebody needs to be the carrier of the torch.
I hear that.
And you're like, why? I got a casting call. I got a casting director called me one time, 2:00 in the morning. This was a huge project, letting me know that my talent was having a social media frenzy over the rate, and that she finally figured out who it was.
Yeah.
So of course we dropped the talent.
Lesson learned, hopefully.
And we lost that casting director for 2 years. Never would work with this. And, the talent are out getting their rah-rah and their
Sure.
likes and their chats and
Yeah,
all that. And you're
yeah.
like, yes, you just cost an agent probably $20,000 in revenue over the next 2 years.
Yeah.
And you don't care.
Yeah.
And not only that, why in the world would you want to talk about a project and let somebody else go find out about it and submit on it?
Right,
I mean, just
right.
seriously?
Yeah.
You're competitive enough. Anyway, I wish I could be more positive about
Good
it.
stuff. Good stuff. I think we might have to do another episode on it. Well, of course, because this is your jam.
It is my jam.
So,
I just want people to respect their agent.
So I think I get that. So guys, peeps out there, just have a good peeps.
Yeah.
Listen to the authority.
Peeps.
Listen to the authority. VO bosses, just respect your agent. Understand we've all got a job to do, and I think I'm hopeful for the agent landscape in the coming years. Although, as you mentioned, there's a lot of people that are going away. But I like to think that cream rises to the top.
I do think cream rises to the top, and now we're kind of winding this one down. But just in general, the producers are not going to want to talk to 4,000. They're going to want to talk to 5 or 10.
Agreed.
And so let's support the 5 or 10.
Exactly. People don't want to be overwhelmed. So what a great conversation, Liz. I can't wait till we have our next podcast so we can talk more.
Woohoo!
We can talk more. I'd like to give a huge shout out to my sponsor, IPDTL. You too can connect with amazing people like Liz and your colleagues and your clients using IPDTL, and find out more at ipdtl.com. Okay, guys, have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Bye.
Take care, everybody.
Join us next week for another edition of VO Boss with your host, Anne Ganguzza. And take your business to the next level. Sign up for our mailing list at voboss.com and receive exclusive content, industry revolutionizing tips and strategies, and new ways to rock your business like a boss. Redistribution with permission, coast-to-coast connectivity via IPDTL.